Welcome to Movement Lesson, the place where optimal development begins.
And I wanted to share with you and ask, like, maybe try to do same and tell me, am I imagining things, or is it really a reliable way to explain the touch and someone? So first of all, like when I try to explain how we want to touch, the best I think is going for the face.
Mm-hmm.
Face and head is generally the most sensitive part of us.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest like to try to go slow towards your cheek, and this way you can see how little actually you don't need to apply any force. Literally,
Right.
you will start feeling your touch even before you actually touch. So that's one thing. And then touching the cheekbone, you can really compare how it feels if you go with linear touch, right? Like you will feel it, but it will not go far. But if you do a bit of a rotation touch, like I would feel it literally on the other side of my face. How does it work for you? It's not how I show you because, you can barely see anything.
Right.
But that's how you feel it. So
showing them the feeling. Mm-hmm.
Would you feel the difference? Like how far would you feel the effect of your own touch on your own face?
As you're doing this on yourself, how far can you feel your touch? So
yeah. So I mean, I know how I feel it, but I don't know if like what I feel, if the others would feel the same.
yeah. So
I ask you to try and maybe tell me, does it work for you?
For me, I mean, that's great for everyone to, that's a great thing that she's suggesting to, try out this week and come back with next week, doing, working on yourself and seeing how you feel your touch, how far can you feel it, things like that. Really practicing on yourself is really, really powerful. And especially when you're trying to go lighter and more gentle. So I agree with you that like the face is more sensitive. For me, when I'm working with that kind of touch, when I go more gentle, I can feel the touch go farther. And based on my intent and focus, like it kind of feels like it's all in your head, but I can feel the touch go to different places. And for me, I kind of have like this warm, fuzzy feeling sensation, especially as I'm going more gentle. And I can get that working on my face, but I get that more so if I'm trying to work on like my foot or my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working on a wrist,
the hands should be also really sensitive.
Yeah. And so those are areas for me that really helped me understand, like, what is the person feeling when I'm working on them and how far can it go and what are those types of things. But those were things for me. And I found that as I went more gentle, I could feel it go further. I don't know if anyone else has tried to work on themselves, and maybe they have some thoughts and insights already. Does anyone have any thoughts and insights with that?
There is yet another piece of experimentation that I did, and that's something that I really didn't try before. So I was thinking about your planes.
Mm-hmm.
Like with touch, I already experimented for a long time, kind of not new to me, but I really tried to get how to work with planes on yourself, because that's not something that we ever discussed, I think. So
Right.
what I did, I tried to, like, like we discussed about coordinating the different viewpoints. So I said, okay, I will try to kind of rotate my pelvis around my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And what I figured, so I can go with, well, say I'm doing the driving plane, and I try to keep the middle of my chest still, and I try to rotate my pelvis around it, and I figured that I have to do really, really small movement, as small as possible, like as we generally try to do this movement lesson. And it makes a real difference because with that, then I would actually be able to feel the middle of my chest and feel the still point, register it. While if I'm doing a bigger movement, even though my chest is still not moving, but I would feel so much from the movement, like all the tendons, all the muscles moving my pelvis. So that this sensation finding your still point in the chest will be totally, well, out, how do you say it?
I
It
don't know.
will be,
I don't know German or Russian, or so I can't guess your word.
yeah, but I don't understand what I mean in English. So it will be way too much feelings from the other parts of the body.
Yep.
So I will not be able to register this still point in the chest.
Yeah. Well, and a thought that came to me as you were saying that, you know, especially, I mean, I really only know Feldenkrais, but I wouldn't know if other modalities focus on that, ABM, stuff like that. But, you know, they talk about awareness, things like that. And awareness is good. We don't want, it's okay to bring awareness to the body or awareness to parts and awareness to things like that. But when you're doing a movement lesson, you're creating new and you're creating new, and so you're giving the body more options to move. So I wouldn't necessarily call that an awareness. I don't know a word for it, because it transitions into awareness, right? When you start working a new point, like, you know, especially like, say you're someone that struggles with, you know, ADD or things like that, like you struggle with focus or you have anxiety, like you struggle having stillness, you know, working on reinforcing your still points. Well, you know, all of us, we have them because we're developing and we're doing great. And so when you already have it, like, that would follow more into the lines of awareness. But if it's something that didn't exist and you have to create new, you know, it's just a new movement. You're establishing a place of stillness. And so working on yourself is just really powerful. I was more just building off of what Anastasia said, not necessarily like reiterating what she said or anything like that. But I just really like how you were going with that about like just working on ourselves and those still points. Those were just some thoughts that that came to me, and it's just really powerful, you know, to have that stillness within yourself and to get that coordination. And as you're working on yourself,
I don't really know if it has some practical application. If it would mean something for my well-being, but I wanted to try to experience what our children, what the people we're working with using the planes, or what could they feel. And also I found it quite an interesting observation that even although we say with planes we can go a little bit bigger movements than we do with other methods, like with the Patrick machine. It's still important to go with the small movements.
Yes. I love how you brought that out. Yes, and working on yourself really does bring those things out. So earlier when you're talking about the touch, like not realizing like, oh, I can be that gentle and they're feeling it, like, because you can feel it, right? Or just self working on yourself. What are they feeling? What are they experiencing? And practical application for yourself. If you're working on yourself, even if you don't know what it's influencing, if you have gentle touch rotation and 360-degree movement, you're optimizing your system. How it will manifest,
yeah, true.
I don't know, but I love how you're taking it and being like, what is my child feeling? What is, because that's what probably one of the biggest questions that parents have, even professionals, is what am I looking for? What am I feeling for? What am I like? And you really just like, the best way to do that is to do it on yourself.